It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tyrone Lowe. The show is called The Legends. I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually access my show and show me love, subscribe, and all that love. And you know what? I really thank you guys because without you guys, there wouldn't be no legends. And the House of the Legends, now, she's been on my show before, but this one is going to be a little bit special. This is going to be like a part two because she's really going to talk about the beginning to where she's at right now. And in the House of the Legends, I give you DJ Flame. Welcome back.
Thank you. You might as well put me as co-host at the bottom. Been here that more.
Excuse me?
You might as well put me as co-host at the bottom. I've been here this many
Okay, well, you
times.
know what? It's cool. I mean, you know,
No,
it's possible.
I love it. It's possible.
It's possible.
Anything is possible.
Why not? I mean,
Thank
you bring a
you.
lot to the hip hop community,
Praise
and
God.
now you're doing God's will as far as your calling.
Amen.
And I think that's kind of special when you can start from something, then you make it transition over to something which is actually a calling.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel the spirituality of it because you're actually doing it.
Absolutely.
So what's going on, DJ Flame? Let's talk about you in the beginning because you guys might have seen it on the first or the second show that we had, but they were corresponded with some other people. But this one's going to be solo, so she's going to tell you all about herself.
Oh, huh? Okay. That's a lot to tell.
That's
so
all
we,
right.
we need to be, questioned. But, if you want to talk about the beginnings, my beginnings in hip hop, I started, and I was talking to the brother that you interviewed earlier. I wanted to jump in. It was like double dutch when I was hearing him because of the culture, and he was talking about hip hop and up rock and just rocking as a b-boy. And so I grew up in Gun Hill houses, and when that music came out in 76, 75, there was a lot of activity as far as b-boys and dancing.
Right.
And I tried the little, the b-girl thing. That wasn't working.
Okay.
For me, I was a little top heavy, so I had to, kind of fall back. But I started doing the hustle, and so I was known, for hustling. And my cousin, Andre, we talked about Andre Collins, who is also a house DJ. And he was doing disco, so I kind of learned a little bit from him.
Right.
But it was Kenny Anderson that really took me under his wing down in Emma's Place, around the corner from the T Connection.
Okay.
On 211th and White Plains Road. And that's the first time that I knew anything about DJing. But I just was so excited. I was like, 13 years old.
Right.
And here I am in this after-hour club, and I think I said it earlier in earlier interviews about how my mom and Emma were close, and my mom worked at nights, and she'd rather me be there, and kind of babysat,
Right.
and just to look over me and make sure she knew I loved music. I was the first DJ in my house. I was 5 or 6 years old.
Wow.
Playing records on the record player, and I just took things to a place that I never thought I could take it to when I think I even said I kind of liked the DJ. He was kind of, cute and everything. and Emma was like, because of course I was 14, 13, 14, And so from there, I met Cool Kyle, MC Cool Kyle. And he was the house MC. So it was weird because when he came downstairs, because the Emmas was downstairs, and everybody would get on the dance floor. They would play "Love Is the Message," And so I was like, well, first of all, I love this song, The Hustle off her.
Right.
But he got on the mic and he started rhyming. And it seemed like, not that it was dead, but the party didn't start until Cool Cow came on the mic. He like, I'm Cool Cow. You don't freak to me, you don't have no style.
Right.
And he gonna beat me up because I know I messed it up, but it's okay. I just want to acknowledge him because I couldn't believe it. I said, what is that? What are you doing? He said, I'm rapping, little girl, because I was the little girl. So everybody would tease me, and they didn't take me serious until Kenny just said, listen, I have to go to the bar. I have to go to the restroom. I need you to cover the booth. I was like, I'm not touching that, Shit, I don't want to hear anything from Emma's brother, which was Scotty, and they were Cuban, so they were crazy. He was a crazy Cuban. He yelled all the time, So I didn't want him yelling at me, But he first looked at me and said, "What are you doing on there?" And then he heard me playing. He said, "Okay, he's coming back," And then he walked away, and they let me play, And so one of my first experiences with DJ Hollywood, I always tell him, he inspired me, and to MC and DJ, they were having a grand opening for Emma's, and Cool Cow had facilitated that, and I was sitting there watching DJ Hollywood, and my mouth was just, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, he's on the turntable and he's MC doing what you do. He said, why don't you go over there and introduce yourself? I said, I'm not doing that. That's a grown man. I'm not doing that. He said, come on, little girl. And then he introduced me to Hollywood. And it's so crazy because I was just at an event at the Hip Hop Church with Curtis Blow. I'm the DJ for the Hip Hop Church.
That was last Thursday.
That was actually, yes, this past Thursday. Yeah. And Hollywood was there to give his testimony. And I always tell him, I said, you don't even remember that little girl in Emma's. He said, I sure don't, but I know you telling the story, girl. I know you telling it right. And I'm so glad that I could have been that inspiration. So he kind of inspired me to DJ and MC. Right. But I really didn't. I had like my own little girl group, and we were rehearsing for my birthday party down in Emma's. And so, Sweet and Sour and Jazzy Jean, those were the MCs, I want to forget them. And it was crazy because I didn't know anything about hip hop, like outside the club. The only thing I knew about hip hop was Cool Kyle. Right. And so, Kyle used to go with Sweet and Sour's sister, and
everybody was affiliated.
Right, so it was like, oh, we family, and I did my birthday party, with kids. We didn't, pursue it. And then I ran into, like, he was talking about gang affiliations and stuff.
Right.
When I grew up in Gun Hill, there were gangs, the Peacemakers, the Black Spades. I mean, everyone. Crazy Legs, all these people that were a part of gang culture. Right. And there was a gentleman by the name of Dynamite who was one of the enforcers in the gang, but they always looked out for me because I didn't grow up in the streets. I was sheltered, coming up. Yeah, I was in the projects, but I wound up going to private school in Poughkeepsie and in Rhinebeck, New York. And then I went to middle school in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, Moravian Academy. While
you were in school, were you doing any DJing then?
No, I didn't know. That was way before Emma's or anything. So when I came back, it was like I was playing the clarinet. I was playing the clarinet. And my mom was like, you better play that clarinet because we bought that clarinet. You better play it.
How good are you with the clarinet?
Uh-huh.
Are you really good with the clarinet?
No. Okay. That didn't that didn't last. Once I saw it, because I wanted to play drums. Right. I wanted to play keyboards. And they just kind of looked at me, I was, a fly in milk, if you so to speak.
I think you should have told them what you wanted to play.
Well, I was in private school, so it wasn't.
You didn't have that option?
It was a different culture.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? there wasn't many of people that looked like me there, you know?
Right.
And so I had to, so I had to adapt to whatever, you know, was available. So I did that. I learned how to play chess. I did all of that, you know, before, you know, I even got out of elementary school. So, so it was this different mindset when I, you know, finally, you know, was in clubs, because even though I was 14, I looked like I was 18, and I acted like I was 20, because it was a certain decorum that I had to, you know, adhere to. And so when I met Dynamite, he was like, "Oh, this the private school girl. We gotta make sure she all right. You need to go see my cousin, or no, to see my nephew, his nephew." So I went to go see his nephew. He said he does that DJing you want to do. Went up there, learning out. I'll never forget it. That's where I met Baby D from the Mercedes Ladies. And I'm up there, I'm mixing, because I wasn't cutting or anything, because I wasn't exposed to that. I was exposed to disco.
Right, right.
You know, so I was playing, you know, hot stuff, and, you know, just the party jams that people would play back in the day for the block parties. That's the stuff that I was mixing. And so when I'm mixing and I look up and I see this girl in the middle of the floor with her mouth open, like, looking at me, and I'm like, who is this girl? You know, but I'm still mixing, and the guy's on the side. I don't even remember the guy's name.
Was it for the fact because you were a girl playing?
Well, she was a girl.
Okay.
But what happened was, she never saw anybody else like me, because she was a hip hop DJ. So she was like, so the guy said, "Oh, you get on the turntables now." So I'm looking, I'm going, "Hi." He's like, "Oh, that's Baby D." At that time, my name was DJ LaSpank.
Right.
And so I looked, I said, "Hi," you know, because I was like, okay, weirdo, it's weird, awkward. And she got on and was, "There. I was like, so I was like her in the middle of the floor, like, and then she stopped. I remember she stopped the turntables and was holding the record. And she said, we gotta talk. She said, "I need for you to join my group. There's a group of girls." I said, "Wait a minute, there's a group of girls like you? I'm in. I'm all in. Take me.
It made
Show
you feel
me."
a part of then.
Right, and then that was my introduction to the
Before
Mercedes
you go any
Ladies.
further, we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be right back with DJ Flame on The Legends.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
And we're back. My name is Tyrone Lowe. The show is called The Legends. And in the House of the Legends, we have DJ Flame in the house, talking about her legacy.
Hey.
What's up, girl?
So, this is the question part of the program.
Well, my question to you is, through all that,
Yeah.
going a little bit forward with you,
Well-
let's talk about your transition, because you was playing regular music, and then you made a transition to worship gospel house music. So let's talk about that.
Gospel hip hop.
Yeah,
Holy hip hop, actually.
Holy, yes, exactly.
So, well, before that, I have to say, once I became a Mercedes Lady, I was there for about a year.
Okay.
About a year and some change. And Mercedes Ladies disbanded. And then I wound up becoming a part of Inner City Disco, which was out in Left Rock City.
Okay.
And then Lady Sweet with Quinny Quinn was the DJ. She was amazing. She was the dopest female DJ I've ever seen, ever.
Okay.
She was doing tricks and battle skills that you see Grand Wizard Theodore doing now. She was doing that back then.
Wow.
Okay, so she's unsung, and yes, I will be bringing her to your show for interview.
Bring it through. Bring it through.
Okay.
Well, that history is good.
Oh yes, and very humble as well.
Okay.
And Lady Sweet was kind of like my partner, and because they was like, I said, the only way that I'll get in your group if you allow me to MC. So they loved the way I MC'd, and so they was like, absolutely, you can DJ and MC, let's go. You know, and so as that group disbanded, because it wasn't an all-female group, it was a guy group. It was two, camps. You know, it was the guy camp and the female camp.
Back
And
in those days, were things cliquish? Back in those days?
Oh, it was very cliquish. It was very cliquish. It was like, and then it was gang culture that was transitioning
Right.
into, the B boys, the B girls, and hip hop. So the culture was different than the industry. We didn't know industry because this was before wax, before records. So it was like protocol. There was, I had to learn, what Zulu Nation was, what their protocol and all
what
these
they
things.
symbolize and things like
Right.
that. Yeah.
And then, you had the Casanovas, and then you had the Peacemakers, the Latin Kings, and, so many different,
And just for the viewers, what year are we talking about? Like 80s, 80s?
with the transition from me to,
I'm talking about the culture itself, where everybody was getting
well,
them.
in my time, I would think it would be between the 70s, the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, that's.
I
I just wanted to get everybody to get on that mindset of what it was back in those days and what year it was.
Yeah, it was, because it was segments, because I may experience, because I was from Uptown, and most of the artists that, we've known as the superstars of hip hop now, pioneers, they came from the South Bronx.
Okay.
So there's a South Bronx culture. There's a Uptown Bronx culture where you see DJ Breakout, DXT, Infinity Machine, T Connection, so many.
Right.
The Funky 4+1.
Right.
They, Breakout, Baron, they, Sasquatch, the whole thing. There was a whole culture, Kool Herc. It was Uptown. So we were in the Valley, Hafen, and we looked up to people like Timmy Hall, Pete DJ Jones, Smokey and the Smokatrons. There were so many different groups back then. But when we went to my experience in going into the Mercedes Ladies, it brought me into a whole new world, because when I walked into that rehearsal space on 168th and Franklin Avenue, and when it was Grand Wizard Theodore. So he was, my mentor. You had Busy B. Starsky. You had Lovebug, not Lovebug Starsky, but Waterbed Kev, Master Rob, Ruby D, so many people. So they were like the L brothers were the counter to the Mercedes. So we were like the sister group. And from what I understand, they had the L sisters before. So there was history before I got there. So I was like one of the last DJs to leave, and maybe one of the first to come in. I'm saying the last to come in and one of the first, second to leave.
Okay.
And so my transition, because, I wanted to make sure, we got that in, because, that part is very intense, because there's so many discrepancies in stories. And so I just wanted to clear up, because there's people saying that I started a group with Inner City Disco, and I did not. They recruited me just like Mercedes Ladies recruited me.
Right.
They just weren't all female. They had a female squad.
So you're calling for gospel hip hop. I mean, let's get into that.
Okay, so that was strange, because I got saved first. I had no idea. I was actually head Zulu Queen. I had just come out of the transition of being a open mic host. I used to host Sylvia's also for open mic night for Melba Wilson.
Okay.
And I was in my singing career, turned down 2 record deals, almost toured with a few people, and Zulu Nation walked in, and that was, kind of crazy for me. And I said, well, listen, you can't serve 2 masters. I got saved.
Right.
And when I got saved, I kind of lost everything. I lost, it was my first husband. I lost my job.
And this is when you got saved?
Yeah, but right before I really, gave my all to God, I lost everything. I was in the middle of eviction.
Wow.
I lost my my husband. He was cheating, all that stuff, and he was on crack, and and I was a recovering addict at the time. I have 38 years clean today.
Congratulations.
Praise God. But it was a lot, and I just was like, I sat on my bed, and I was just like, Lord, what do you want from me? I'm sorry, I get choked up.
That's okay.
I said, you got my attention. What do you want from me? And he said, I want you. And from then on, I just started going to church, and I didn't know anything about, only hip hop. I was still a part of Zulu Nation. I was still head Zulu Queen, but Bam wanted me there because he felt that I was a positive influence on the youth and the
Right.
especially the
Which
women.
is very important.
And he, because of my day job that I, was no longer a part of. I was in a government agency, and he was kind of blown away, and he couldn't, so he was just like, I need you, to help with the
Right.
sisters. So I did that, and when I was in church, I still, was connecting, with the pioneers, reconnecting, because I had been totally out from hip hop. I got married, got a job,
Right.
did that, and then started singing, on the circuit, open mic circuit, and doing session work,
Right.
And so here I am now. I'm in Zulu Nation, and I'm reacquainting, and I'm in church, and there a minister says to me, "You're gonna DJ for the Lord," and I was like, I started laughing at him, and I've known him since I was young, and
Okay.
I was like, that's not gonna happen. I said, I'm gonna curse. I'm crazy. You know what I mean? That's not happening.
Right.
I'm just. And he said, you are. He said, you're gonna be a powerful minister of God. And I was like, okay, will you pray for me? And everywhere I went, I said, please, not another prophet, please. So I have a word for you. I said, I know, I'm a DJ. You know what I mean? They said, no, you're gonna be this, and you're gonna travel the world, and this and that. And so, for some reason, I said, yeah, let's try it. I was actually managing my husband at the time, and he was a DJ on Hot 97 with Bambaataa, True School with Noon. And so I didn't believe it. I thought it was him and not me. And then all of a sudden, I started getting the music,
Right.
and that was it. It just, the bug. I started making mixtapes, and we started selling mixtapes, and I started doing interviews on my husband's mixtapes, and then
Right.
I would do mixes, gospel mixes, on his mixtapes, and they would sell.
Wow.
And so that was the time, when DJ Who and Who Kid and all of them, they was doing their mixtape thing. But at that time, it was also a problem with, copyrights, and, so I was a little nervous.
Right. But let's speed up a whole lot. What is DJ Flame? What are you doing right now as far as currently?
Okay, well, currently I am a radio personality
Yes.
on WACR 90.3 FM for almost 20 years.
Shout out to Tina Dixon.
What's up, T? That's
Dr. D.
Yes, Dr. D, of course, Dr. D. Matter of
Right.
fact, I think I talked about how Dr. D, because at
Right.
that time, when I first came into the fold, I was featured in the Source magazine as one of the females, along with DJ Coco Chanel. I mean, 4 other DJs.
Right.
Okay, so when when the issue came out and I was in church and all the kids was like looking at me and looking at the Source and I said, it's me. Can we finish with the service, please? Okay. And so, when that happened, I started getting, because I was, of course, in affiliation, with gospel. And that's when I met Dr. D. And it was like, my husband and I were a duo. He was on, at that time, it was on CDs, the gospel music. You couldn't get it on vinyl.
Right.
And so he was the vinyl king. He was like the Funk Master Flex. Okay. And I was bringing, the music. Mm-hmm. So we would come together and combine. He'd be scratching, and that kind of, opened the door for us, right, for ministry. And we were able to be embraced by Dr. D. And then I just embraced myself, embraced the whole culture, right, of holy hip hop.
Quick question: what is the reach right now for gospel house? I mean, gospel hip hop.
Reach.
How is it? Yeah, I mean, how far is it going?
Oh, it's international. You have people in Africa, and
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a global ministry. Right. I have people. I just had a young lady who used to be a Zulu queen who's saved, who's doing holy hip hop in France.
Wow.
And
that's
so
amazing.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, there's so much richness there, and there is so much power, because using holy hip hop, and this is one of the reasons why I'm a part of the hip hop church with Curtis Blow. Yeah. And it's just an amazing, and he's planting churches all over the country now. Okay. It used to be just LA and New York, and now we have, other branching locations. Out. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, we're seeing, young people. It used to be just for the young people. Now it's everybody. We had more adults, right, in that service than we had young people. Wow. But when the altar call came, do you need prayer? Everybody was up on that altar. So God he's universal.
God is definitely good.
He's using, this music.
And it's good that you're actually doing that, because a lot of people have a hard time trying to even go in that direction. Mm-hmm. But what I'm going to say to you is that I thank you so much for being on my show. And I know it's a whole lot more.
It's a part 3, y'all.
It's a whole lot more history. And I'm going to bring you on again.
Yes, because we had to talk about the
but
Tennessee.
I'm going to bring a column of people that's actually
absolutely
legends that can talk about that history.
Absolutely.
But this has been another T-Lo video production, you guys, and my host and my guest, DJ Flame.
It's out of his mouth, y'all. I'm the host, co-host.
Yeah, one day I would love that. But this has been another T-Lo video production, and you guys stay tuned for another show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, just come through.
Thank you.
All right.
God bless.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.